Hello, welcome to Club IDIC. Tonight, we are going to be watching Strange New Worlds from Star Trek Strange New Worlds, and we are going to be discussing Facing a Strange New World. Please enjoy this meeting. Hello.
Hey, good evening, Heather.
If ever there was a unique Anthony greeting, that would be it. It's been a long time.
What year is this?
2023. It's good to see you.
Yeah. Let's get to work. So how are the holidays to you?
They were all right. Just the end of school got so intense that I just really needed to focus on that. Like the end of the semester, I'm in no way done.
I figured the grades haven't come in yet. What was it? The 13th. Oh, right.
I'm in a new semester now.
True. So how's that been going for you, Heather?
Oh, it's a nice new semester. I'm transcribing handwritings now and possibly going to learn a new language later.
Which one?
I don't know yet.
Well, I know I didn't get to really visit my family for Christmas this time.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
What are you sorry for? Blame nature for bringing a freaking cold spell to New York.
Oh, I know, right? It brought lots of snow up here, and I got home from Christmas holidays to see that water had somehow gotten inside my bedroom and had flooded my carpet. They came and cleaned it.
Okay, there would be a colorful metaphor I would describe to use this, but since you're a devout Mormon, I would not utter it.
Thank you. Yeah. So
no snow here, but plenty of ice.
I hope you didn't fall.
No, thankfully, no.
Yeah.
Well, I know photography is a little off right now because it's the off season.
Oh, I hope you're eating well.
I'm eating.
You're eating. That's always good.
Yes, yeah. Even though at one point, I would say that the bipedal thing in front of me looks appetizing.
Missed you so much. I've missed your humor so much. Oh, my brother actually got me a Star Trek present for Christmas. He got me a Voyager technical book.
What? Really?
Yes.
Like a whole Voyager tech manual.
Yeah. Like
yeah, I have the TNG and the DS9 manuals. I was always wondering, there's a Voyager. I couldn't really find one on Amazon.
Like, yeah, I think it came out in like 2020.
I would have bought it.
Yeah, he found it somehow. I don't know how. It was just, I think it was illustrated or something. I'm not sure. It's on my shelf. And I won a Strange New Worlds Enterprise NCC 1701 Christmas ornament from Open Pike in a draw, and they sent it to me.
Oh, okay. Well, While I'm still mourning the loss of Eagle Moss, and that was a coincidence there, Heather, not a rhyme.
Oh, I know, but yeah, it's nice to have another ship to go with the Excelsior my brother got me a few years ago.
Yeah. Well, let me see.
No,
Elsa, yeah.
no, if only I could have some beautiful cosplay to match yours.
eBay. That's
I'm-
funny thing. The outfit I'm wearing, I've had this about 20 years.
Yeah, but I'm not trying to get into more debt. I'm trying to pay down the debt that I've accumulated over COVID isolation periods. I'm finally able to start doing that now. So
Okay. Well, no rush, Heather, no rush.
yes, but COVID has truly left us in a strange new world, hasn't it?
Okay, they should call this one Attacking the Horrible Puns.
I mean, COVID really has left us the question, how many of us actually know what our last day is? And it's philosophical, of course, but it's really left us that question.
Has the scripture helped you at all with that one?
Probably. But I mean, it's a question we have to consider, isn't it? But this episode is appropriate because in a way, Christopher Pike does now know when his last day is, when his last day as a really functioning human being is. I'm assuming you've seen this, have you?
Oh, yes. I think I should might as well tell you this. It's a very short story. I think I told you this like about last year. I'll say it again, Cliff Notes version.
Sure.
They did some contacts of mine. I was able to go, I think this is in April, I think. When I was able to go to the Strange New World screening party, where I did get to see the first 2 episodes. I didn't get to hang out with Anson Mount in person, like one of my buddies did. Yeah, my pals took a selfie with Anson.
Oh,
But I did get Anson Mount's autograph at New York Comic Con last year.
that's amazing.
I don't know, maybe amazing for you, normal for me.
Well, I mean, it would be amazing because I don't think I've met anybody from those eras yet. I mean,
From where now?
the new eras.
Ah,
I'm too poor. Like, I haven't been to a convention since 2017. So,
well, and I understand maybe in your case, conventions are just starting to claw their way back out from the COVID ditch.
well, I wanted to, I want to go to Star Trek
Mission
Las
Seattle.
Vegas. I really want to go to Star Trek Las Vegas again, and or maybe even up to the Calgary Con. It's just not been a reality between the lack of money due to COVID and this endometriosis. It's like you have to think about what's the best for me. But it's getting
Yeah,
better.
paying money to record these viewing sessions.
Yeah. But you know, they're nice. I like them. They bring hope to people somewhere. I don't know where, but somewhere.
Door buzzer. I don't know who the heck rang my dang door.
Oh, you know, that reminds me of how mischievous I was as a kid, about 8, 9 years old. There was this game.
Let me guess, ring the doorbell and run away.
Or knock on the door and run away, but I got caught. And they actually took me over to see my teacher, and I got a talking to.
Bad Heather.
Yes. But I never did it again.
Good.
But I was a mischievous child. Maybe somebody was just doing that to you.
No, I'm not laughing.
Oh.
Yeah, and anybody coming here besides me?
What? I don't know, but I'm sorry that nobody else is coming. I'm not going to take responsibility for that, though. People knew when it was, and that's is what it is. I'm grateful for your company, and that's you should be grateful for mine, and that's what it is.
Yeah, I just take it for what it is.
But I mean, you said something about how you weren't laughing, but since we never know what our last day is anymore due to everything going on, we should take time to laugh and to smile and to be grateful.
Yeah.
I mean, we may not feel like we have a lot of blessings, but we really do.
Besides the usual be thankful you're alive thing.
Well,
I'm thankful I do not live I'm thankful I live in a first world country
yes.
where I do not have to hunt my own food.
Because I mean, that's actually, you make a good point, because if you can't find something while hunting, then you don't eat. And I mean, some people, like my own dad, he died at 62 years old. He just suddenly, out of a sudden, started losing weight, started getting thin, and then all of a sudden, one day in July 2014, he was told, "Oh, you've got cancer, stage 4 of the adrenal gland. They can't do anything for it." By the end of October, he was gone of that same year.
If I recall, correct me if I'm wrong, it was a blessing and a curse at the same time.
Well, it's a curse that, it's not fun to see anybody die, but it was a blessing because he wasn't kind to the family and he struggled with alcoholism that made him not kind to his family. So, but it's still sad that he died. He was my father, and it's terrible to see anyone die, especially a parent.
Well, my mom's in her 70s now.
And she's probably just as sweet as you are.
No.
But you are her son.
And
she probably does love you deep down.
And I know this is not the most nicest thing for a son to say, but like I said, I'm here looking at my watch. Okay, let's see how many years we got on this thing.
She probably does love you deep down, even though she may have trouble showing it sometimes.
Yeah, I did like visit her the other day, actually.
Yeah. So she probably does love you. All parents probably do love their children deep down. It's just hard for some to express it because they don't understand their children and the uniquenesses that their children have sometimes. And that's a very nice way of putting it.
There you go. Yeah.
And I would refer you back. I don't know if you were with us at this point when we did the caregivers and caregivers stress episode. I mean,
well, you mean back when Teresa was still with us?
Maybe. I don't know if she was even still with us because that was one of the earlier episodes, but we visited.
Or like what? Like James, the Charlie Manson looking guy?
Oh. No, but this was early on and we discussed the episode The Wire. So I would encourage you to go watch that and consider that when you think of your parents. Anyway, yeah, I don't want to get too deep in that because I don't want to pry into your personal life.
Okay, so let me see. Let's talk about strange new worlds. What if you entered the new year, with part-time employment?
Oh, that would be lovely.
Floating part-time employment, a new shiny black and gray like I'm wearing, and a talking fish named Ray.
I don't know why I'd name a fish named Ray. That sounds like a terrible name for a fish, first of all. I would not name a fish named Ray. Maybe Spike or Porthos.
Right. Oh.
I knew that would get on your nerves.
The power of Archer compels you.
I mean, if it was a dog with pointy ears, I might, or a cat with pointed ears, I might even name the pet Spock, but
Wait, okay, you would name the cat Spock.
why not? I've always wanted to name a cat Spock.
Okay, I guess I'm guessing your current living situation does not permit you to have a kind of
No, there's an
anything
expensive pet
living.
fee. Expensive pet fee.
Okay, well, no pets on this lease too.
Well, no, you can have a pet. It's just like a $250 pet fee, which I do not have.
Okay, that's a nice roundabout way of saying no pets.
Oh no, people have pets in the building. I just can't afford that. I would like one, but I just can't afford it. I could probably get a cat.
Hmm.
Yeah, nice support animal. Yeah, it would be nice.
I guess no. I'm sorry, I'm just thinking.
Well,
If they
considering the
charged you,
pet, considering the pet I've had in my life since 2008, he doesn't live with me. He lives with my family, but he's getting really old and on his older legs.
yeah, that's why I have a pet. I guess you can have a pet rock.
Yeah.
You don't
Yeah,
feed it, you don't clean it, and they don't charge you $200 a month to have it.
yeah. Anyway, I try not to think about it too much because it makes me really, really sad.
Well, I'm the one that brought up the talking fish. It kind of spiraled from there.
Well, I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you. I just don't want to cry in this. But yeah, I mean, our
Yeah, and I don't have
experience,
tissue near me this time, so
yeah, but pets and everything like that actually bring up experiences. They're experiences we have in our lives, and experiences can actually be traumatizing, as Pike, like we are similar to Pike in a way with our experiences, like the experience with the time crystal and the experience with the USS Discovery. Those things traumatized Pike to the point where he had to go hide in that cabin in Montana and ride his horse around in the snow.
yeah, but they still dragged them kicking and screaming back onto the ship. And
Yeah,
you have to get through this, you
unwillingly.
like it or not.
Like he knew he was on borrowed time after he saw his future in that crystal. But then he heard, oh, your number one is missing, and he had to make a decision.
Yeah,
But he was too ingrained. He had too much nobility in him, and he could have said no. Who cares? Get someone else. But
I
it was
think
his
he
friend.
did.
It was his friend. It was his friend, like, because literally Pike cared too much about his friend to actually ignore the situation.
Yeah. So yeah, it's like one of those what would you do situations.
And I mean, I don't think he would have forgiven himself if he would have continued to ignore it. Told April no and said get someone else, and she died or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's funny little trivia. How many captains commanded the Starship Enterprise? 3. Robert April, Christopher Pike, James Kirk.
Well, what about Archer?
I'm talking about the 1701
Hmm.
Enterprise.
So what about Harriman? He did the B.
Oh, come on. Have I really go through the whole
And
thing?
Picard did the D and the E.
NX Archer, 1701 April Pike Kirk. A Kirk, B Harriman, C Garrett, D E Picard. And I have to wait for Star Trek Picard to come on to see who's up in the F.
That's true. I'm sorry, I like toying with your mind.
Mm.
Yeah, so, I mean, hiding himself away was one of Pike's many attempts to try and prevent his fate from coming to pass, because we know this isn't the last. We know, we won't go into that because that's a spoiler.
Yeah, and I won't blow the rest of the episode for you, because I already had thoughts of it based on the time I saw it
Yeah.
first.
Well, I've
I'll
seen it
save
too,
that for
but
after.
I've seen it too. We can watch it again, but as much as we try to protect ourselves from life and the pains that come with it, the pains come.
Yeah.
And come they did. And Pike was forced into facing a strange new world. The new world being each day that passed before he would be forced to meet the fate that he knew was coming. He was very much aware that he was on borrowed time, but he couldn't hide away while he lost a friend. Christopher Pike was much too noble and much too full of Starfleet values to put himself over others. His personal moral codes stopped him from pursuing, hiding from fate further. And I mean, this happened the next time he tried to change his fate. And I mean, this is something about it. Once he knew the consequences of trying to change his fate, he stopped because he didn't want somebody else to get hurt.
Okay.
Sorry. I could go on a ramble.
Oh, I thought you were reading the event description.
No, I wrote that. Those are in my notes. Would you like to get to the episode?
Yeah, well, I don't think nobody else coming here right now, so I might as well.
No,
So
they're
just to
not.
be
But
sure.
they're not, but they're missing out. It's their loss. All right. So let's get to
Strange New Worlds, season 1, episode 1.
Yes, so let's get to Strange New Worlds.
Alrighty, let me mute this then.
See you in an hour.
All right. All right, I think I've seen enough.
Okay, awesome. So what'd you think?
Well, what I'm thinking is a couple of things in no particular order. Well, this isn't the first time they've done an episode of Star Trek where the crew ends up violating a prime directive one way or the other. But then again, right? I'm guessing the other thing I'm thinking is from Europe. I guess, how do I put this? They invented Christianity.
Well, I don't know about that. I really don't know about that. I just try to, well, as a Christian, because I believe that Mormons are Christian, as a Christian, I think that we should just love one another unconditionally and not try to use our liberties to hurt one another.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And I get mighty pissed at people who try to use their liberties to hurt one another. I get mighty pissed to the point where I start fights in parking lots or fight with old ladies in parking lots, Karens, as it were.
Okay.
And I own it.
And the third thing I was going to say was, excuse me, let me see, prime directive violations, plot device, them pretty much ingraining themselves to the planet's culture and basically trying to get the captain to go deal with his fate. He's like, how would you think about it this way? How would you react if somebody came up to you? Well, somebody from like your let's say Trudeau came over to your place and told you you're going to die in 2040 of space parasite consumption.
Well,
And you'll die like at 2000 hours. How would you feel?
Trudeau's not exactly an honest politician, so bad example. But you did bring up a good point about Pike being forced to accept his fate. And I'm going to springboard off that if I can.
Shoot.
After coming out of seclusion and accepting that facing a strange new world was his path, Pike chose to use the time that he could to make a difference in the galaxy, beginning with the ship and those he considered his family, his crew.
Yeah.
And, that makes me bring up trauma response because, I've made notes during this, as you know.
And I read your postings, so I'm not
Oh,
going to
you
get
read
into
it.
that for the sake of this live stream. But
Oh.
it's safe to say I read most of the stuff you post, be it Messenger or just a general Facebook thingy.
No, it's not on Facebook. I make notes in the Zoom just so I have discussion points.
And I just enjoy it casually without picking it apart to see, okay, so we dealing with 1960s era Earth. We're going to nuke each other to death. Okay.
Anthony, that comes from my time as a journalist. I'm still a journalist in a way because we were taught to analyze episodes. And one of my earlier assignments in journalism school was to analyze an episode of The Amazing Race All-Stars. And I did that to a T.
Okay, go on.
So this is, I like analyzing these episodes. It makes me feel alive. This is something I started while COVID, COVID's still very much a thing. It makes me feel alive to be able to do this and talk about it with other people.
Mm-hmm.
And, as I said, trauma response, because that's what Pike was doing, hiding out in the cabin in Montana, was a trauma response. He didn't know how to deal with the trauma, so he hid away. He was apathetic.
But I guess kind of like saying he's running from the truth.
Well,
but the truth found him literally.
He knew the truth. He just didn't want to deal with it. When it comes to our response to trauma, though, are we capable as being apathetic to it as we may want to be? Or do we need to eventually address it in order to heal? That's a good question to consider.
Both.
What do you mean by both?
It depends on the person, really. It's not as simple as, do you either run from the truth or do you face it and acknowledge it? Depends on the temperament of the individual person. Because I've dealt with both. People who do want to run away and be in a state of denial for the rest of their lives, right?
Right.
They'll run no matter how many times you pull them into the correct lane. Then there are people who will say, okay, this is what it is. I have to deal with this. Okay, let's go. And then there's probably a little in between. I don't know. Should I do this or should I do that? Because what if? Oh my God. No, they want to change, but they're at an impasse, like a mental block. They can't get over it.
Yeah.
Like I said again, it depends on the temperament of the individual.
Why aren't you a counselor? Like, honest to God. You would make a great counselor.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But Pike wanted so very much to hide away and avoid feeling and facing the traumas he experienced with the time crystal and the Discovery disappearing. And him and Spock had to say that everybody on the Discovery was dead because Starfleet ordered them to, but they were gone to the future. And yeah, spoiler, if anybody hasn't seen it by now,
well, I consider that two separate universes at this point.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. Because there's no way, it tried to cram the Discovery into the continuity of the Star Trek franchise. Come on, that thing is way too advanced to be coming out before the Constitution class.
Oh, that's true.
So that doesn't make any dang sense, Heather.
Well, that's true. And I mean, that makes me wonder what happened to Giorgio, leader in Discovery, but we won't go into that.
Okay, but like I said, that's the way I keep it straight in my head. We have the Roddenberry Berman universe.
Yeah.
We have the Kelvin verse. We have the Kurtzman verse. And I do consider Strange New Worlds and Discovery to be two totally different things.
Well, what verse are they in? They're in a verse entirely by themselves.
Yeah.
What about Lower Decks?
Uh,
Where are they? And yeah, Lower Decks and Prodigy, where are they?
I have yet to watch those.
Oh, really? Well,
Really?
guess what? We're watching next month.
Hmm.
We're
Which one?
watching an
Prodigy
episode
or
from
Lower Deck?
Prodigy.
Someone's happy.
Yes, we're watching an episode from Prodigy next month.
On the 19th, if I recall.
No, it's before Valentine's Day.
Okay.
But I decided to start integrating a little bit of new Trek in just so everybody could have a piece of it.
Okay.
Because I actually did watch it and I thought it was cute.
Funny thing, I have the plushie from Comic-Con when they had the Star Trek
Of course you do.
event.
Because you go to 50 Comic-Cons a year.
But anyway, I was saying I'm holding on to that plushie because I went on eBay last year and people already auctioning that thing off for like $200 American.
Oh my, why don't they just keep them? It's nice to have Trek plushies.
You know, the little blob creature.
Like, why don't you just keep your Trek plushies when you get them? Why do you get them if you're just going to sell them? That's total crap. I don't know. I'm just passionate. I would love to have more Trek plushies.
Well, I wish I didn't have to go to Vegas for a Star Trek convention.
Mm,
But well, wishes were horses or like
yeah. Yeah, but yeah. So the question again is posed, do we need to acknowledge our demons
it would
in
help
order to
most of the
heal,
time.
from and move on from them properly? Because, you know, Pike tried to fight going back on the Enterprise, but April made it an order. You know, sometimes, and maybe you disagree with this, sometimes we need to,
A boot in the rear to motivate you.
sometimes we need to be forced into acknowledging our demons and how it affects us as people and how the behavior we display will affected by the demon, you know, because sometimes, you know, a mental health struggle and how we behave because we're affected, you know, it affects how we interact with others. And sometimes somebody needs to point that out to us.
Right.
And
So,
say, hey, you need to smarten up and go do this, or else you're going to lose everything that matters to you.
yeah, I'll tell you a case. I'm not going to mention names.
Okay.
You know, the whole confidentiality thing
Yes.
that counselors have to abide by. Because I know somebody who really has a lot of anger issues and tends to take it out on people for no reason, but they refuse to acknowledge that there is an issue with them. So they continue with their maladaptive behavior. And you end up burning bridges with people. And to make matters worse, sorry, had to scratch my nose. And the problem is they're trying to find new friends to replace the friends they keep losing. But and you can guess they can't keep that up indefinitely.
No, they can't, because anger, you know, it takes so much energy, it takes so much time, it wastes so much energy, and it makes you just darn tired to live as an angry person.
I wish the subject themselves would come to that understanding, but
Well, Anthony, you think I'm a freaking angel? I used to live as an angry person. I used to live as a depressed person. I used to be that person, but I realized that I couldn't live that way because I was pushing too many people away.
is this before or after you found the church?
It was like, even it didn't really have anything to do with church. It had to do with myself and how I was, like, I came to that realization during lockdown and taking emotional resilience courses. It's like I had just turned myself into someone I didn't like. But I'm better for it. I've learned a lot. I lost a lot because I was a person I didn't like, but I'm learning from it.
There
And I
you
wish your friend well. And I hope they come to that realization too.
That would be nice.
And I hope you don't. And I mean, you know, Anthony, it's okay that if you need to take a break from your friend for your own sanity, you can say the serenity prayer to yourself and get some counseling for it, and I would encourage it.
In my case, I had to hit the Facebook block button.
I'm sorry.
Well, actually, I'll put this here, right? I don't want to bring up people,
But
but
just love
I was,
yourself.
yeah, I was, how do I put this now? The subject tried taunting me on social media and over the phone.
Well, if you want to talk about it later in private, because I can tell it's making you uncomfortable, we can.
Well, I'm just trying to figure out how I get my point across without blowing too many personal details. Again, confidentiality rule.
Yes.
No, any ship's counselor, Troy, Esri, Paris.
Like you want to be a friend and not a therapist, sort of thing, right?
If you put it that way.
I had to be told that a lot too until I finally got it. So I can understand.
So let me just going back to the title of tonight's session. How strange is the new world looking for you tonight?
How strange is the new world looking? That I'm doing a lot better. It's great. It's actually not so strange. It's not so foreign. It's not so terrible. I'm a lot happier now that I've acknowledged my demons, and I'm using my demons and my past to actually create positive things.
Okay, so little Heather joke. So on the table read nights, do you play one role and the demon like does the backup understudy role?
Well, actually, we recently did a table read of The Sopranos, and my father was a fan of The Sopranos, and I actually dedicated the table read to his memory.
Oh, okay.
So that's something I could do now. I don't have those negative feelings towards him anymore. I can talk about him without being angry.
Progress, I will say.
And I wrote several Trek essays with mentioning him, and I couldn't do that before. It's a good healing thing, you know? And, you know, when Pike, this actually makes me think, like, you know, sometimes we need someone we can talk to. Sometimes we need someone like to help us face our demons and to be able to talk about them without anger. Like when Pike got on the Enterprise, Spock noticed how he was feeling and his behavior was off. So Spock went to Pike's quarters and they had a conversation about Boreth. And Pike opened up to Spock. He said, "This happened. I know when I'm going to die. I know the day I'm going to die. I know how it's going to happen." And
yeah, makes me wonder how they're going to explain the Telosian incident.
Are they?
The original pilot.
No, but are they going to explain it? Is Strange New Worlds actually going to last that long?
That's I'm trying to figure out. Will they get renewed for season 2?
Season 2 is actually filmed. It's filmed. Okay. Strange New Worlds is filmed in Toronto.
Okay. I know you wish you can go 2 time zones east just to check it out.
Well, you know what? I actually applied to be a background extra a few times. I submitted photos and stuff, but they never picked me.
Let me guess, they ghosted you all 3 times?
They never responded, so I assume.
That's what I said. They ghosted you. They didn't say anything back to you.
Like, it is what it is. Maybe someday.
Yeah.
Being on Star Trek would be a dream role.
Yeah. I'll say this. Picard is coming out next month.
Yeah. There are mixed feelings on that.
On this here device.
People have mixed feelings on the whole thing. I'll admit it. I've seen it all over social media. People have mixed feelings on season 3 being a TNG reunion.
Uh-huh.
Well,
I've met most of the TNG cast.
I've met a few of them as well.
Okay, let me see. Patrick Stewart, LeVar Burton.
Yes.
Brent Spiner, like I said before, I finally got my revenge on him.
Yes, I've met Brent.
Michael Dorn.
Oh, yes. He's my mom's favorite. Yes, I had to meet him or else she'd be very upset.
Well, I haven't met Frakes, Curtis, or McFadden?
Well, I've met Frakes and Sirtis. I actually appeared in the newspaper with Sirtis.
Nice.
Yes. It was on my birthday. Like, she gave me a free photo and my mom a free photo, and then we appeared in the paper the following Monday.
Nice.
Yes.
Well, considering you live in an out of the way town, like I think Lethbridge is an out of the way town,
Yes.
that would be something great.
That would be. Yes, it would. I've still got the clipping. This was back in 2013.
10 years ago. Wow.
Yes.
Yeah, my pointless trivia from before the episode. My current outfit, I had this thing for 20 years now. This costume is how you say, out of print.
Well, I like it on you. It looks good on you.
Well, I've been told it's my skin. It's such an integral part of me. Like, I take it off, I'm still wearing it.
Well, that brings me to a point in the conversation that Pike and Spock were having. We need to seek out the good in things. And I mean, Spock told Pike, you must seek out the good in your own death. I mean, he's basically saying to Pike, make the most of the time that you have and know that your death is going to mean something to somebody else. It's going to mean the survival of other people who are going to make the most of what you've given them in the way of your death is going to mean life for somebody else. And it does. And it will mean things, especially to Spock, as we know. We're not going to spoil it any further than that.
Yeah, okay. I will say, just between us,
Oh, hell, this is recorded. Who cares if you say it? I've already seen it.
well, okay. He is and always shall be Captain Pike.
He will. I mean, like, we look at the menagerie. Spock was willing to risk his entire career to help his friend find peace from his suffering. He literally, I mean, Kirk thought that Spock was loyal to him, but Spock was always loyal to Pike.
Yeah. And I'm wondering how that's going to play out in Strange New Worlds. How they explore that side of things.
Well, I don't know, like, we barely just met Kirk at the end of Strange New Worlds, and that's a spoiler. Who cares? I don't care personally.
But one thing I will say about spoilers, my opinion differs from yours. When it comes to spoilers, I'm not trying, no offense to you, dear Heather, but kindly shut the heck up
Okay.
when it comes to spoilers.
All right. That's all I'm going to
I've
say
been trying to
then.
dodge Picard spoilers right now.
Okay.
No, okay, all I know is TNG cast. I don't want to hear the rest of it. Let me watch.
Oh, we're not even talking about Picard, though. I'm talking about Strange New Worlds. I'm assuming you've seen all of that.
Same thing. Let me
Okay.
see season 2.
So we'll just move on to another thing that Pike said. I
Okay.
think it was Lanon Singh. There's surviving and then there's living. So what does that mean to you?
Well, surviving is just, to me, survive in that context, surviving is just, like physically living. Okay, you're breathing, you're bleeding, but living is making the most out of your life and going through it in a way that's positive and beneficial.
Oh, you brought out your nice looking eyes. I love that.
God. I have bags big enough to carry 5 kilos of groceries.
I know, but your eyes are like as bright as the stars, and I love that. They are. They just remind me of the stars in the night sky. That's just amazing. Take the compliment.
Have you told your mom about me at all? Now I'm curious.
Why is it her business? I'm not doing anything inappropriate.
When did I say that?
Like, she knows that you're in the group. Who cares? She probably watches these. I'm an adult.
Mm,
But
so,
what?
okay. So yeah, what was the last thing you kind of got from the pilot of Strange New Worlds?
What?
When he's talking at the end of it, no, when he's
Oh,
like,
we're not there yet. I got a pile more notes.
oh, okay, how many more pages?
But there's surviving and there's living means to me, well, surviving is just being there. You exist, you go through your motions, but living means just finding joy in every little moment and being unafraid to create no moments, even if you look weird to everybody else. Living means being unafraid to look weird to everybody else. And as long as you're having fun, who cares?
Yep.
And as long as you're being safe, you shouldn't be wild enough to be unsafe, but you should have fun while being safe.
Yeah, but everybody got their own tolerance for risk. No? Yeah, some people will actually go bungee jumping. I'm not one of them.
Well, that's a safe thing as long as you do it safely. I personally preferred going off the roof of the Rio on the zip line when I was at Star Trek Las Vegas, but I don't think that's something you would do.
I'll be at the end of the line, like, okay, she's gonna make it or what?
But in terms of having fun and living life to our best,
There you go. That's the living part, in my opinion.
that's part of our destiny. Our destiny is to interfere with the destiny of this world well. Our destiny is to help the world and live life to its fullest. And some people don't agree with that. Not everybody's going to agree with that. And that's where conflict comes from. But we can't have conflict and have a happy world. We really can't. We need to choose whether or not we want that in our world. We can either have conflict and turmoil and war, or we can learn to get through the conflict in a peaceful way. And Pike really believed that negotiation and debate are the tools to build a lasting peace. However, the Kylie government said there are people in their world refusing to listen to that. That's why Pike literally said, oh, we have to really help them see that there's other ways, because they blame themselves and their war in the sky. They blame themselves for being the ones that caused the Kylie to develop the technology.
Yep.
Too.
Okay, we messed up Prime Directive. How do we clean this up?
And Spock thought it was completely absurd. He thought they should just get their people and leave and let them destroy themselves.
Yeah.
But there's no joy in watching somebody else destroy themselves.
That's Spock for you. Buy the book.
Yeah, but there's no joy in watching somebody else or some other culture destroy themselves.
I know. I don't know if you have it over where you're at. Like around here, it's called the Jerry Springer Show. We had people destructing on each other every middle of the week.
It's a sad little show. I know what it is. It's a sad little show.
And put that on a planetary scale. What do you get?
World War.
Yeah. Okay. This is a funny thing I'll say with Star Trek. How Pike actually, oh boy, like the Admiral said, oh, they almost ended up in the brig for what they did.
Yeah.
But, right? The thing is that most stories, especially going back to the Cold War era, no, most of the time the aliens, they come down to the planet, they do not come in peace. And they often end up leaving in pieces.
Well, it's like Lon said, not believing your die is what's going to get you killed. It's like being unaware and being oblivious to your own vulnerability is what gets you killed faster than anything. You have to be aware of your own vulnerability, and that everything, even if it doesn't directly affect you immediately, it will affect you eventually. It's like that poem, They Came For Me.
I read it. Point made.
Yeah, so we are all literally affected by something that goes on in another country. It will eventually affect us. So we need to have an opinion and be unafraid to express our opinion. We need to be unafraid to lend a helping hand when we are asked to, because we need to be afraid of everything because it will eventually affect us. We need to be aware of everything. We need to remember to care when something happens. And, you know, people on Earth, despite having different beliefs and cultures, are very much alike in that they are people. And that's what Pike tells the people on planet Kylie. They're all affected by what is going on. And he shows the videos of Earth's last day and he tells them about all the deaths and he wants to make them aware of the fact that they are slowly destroying each other, and they will succeed because they are capable of it and they don't believe in any other way except destruction.
Kind of reminds me, again, digging way back, and something else that's on Paramount Plus, plug.
What? I don't have it. I watched Star Trek off the TV.
So how'd you look at this?
Crave.
Well, I think, like I said last year, I got Paramount Plus with TV commercials.
Yeah.
Which is why I don't always respond as quickly as you do.
Yeah. What were you saying? Another thing off of Paramount Plus?
Ever seen the Twilight Zone episode, Monsters Are Due on Maple Street? When all the people in the
But you can
neighborhood
tell, I have
end
not.
up,
You can tell me
people
about
end
it.
up getting paranoid, end up turning on each other. And then we see aliens behind it all. They look for the most dangerous enemy they can find, and it's themselves.
Really?
Yeah, so like the aliens, like, okay, that's part of their plan to conquer Earth. This Maple Street, they got Maple Streets all over Earth. We will go from one to the other and let the humans destroy themselves.
Well, we're certainly capable of doing that, aren't we?
Yep, kind of like Trek taking us back to the 60s again. When
Well,
the original came out, they weren't worried about nuclear war.
If you look at, I believe it was past tense, humans are certainly capable of destroying themselves with words and weapons, and all it takes is a fear of perpetrating a fear of someone who is different than them, and it can just snowball into a sanctuary city.
Yep, that's one of my favorite DS9 episodes.
I mean, we may actually revisit that. I don't know. We might.
Okay, I'll bet you. I was gonna say it's in your notes somewhere.
Yeah. No, I just thought of that because, I mean, that's where the inspiration for one of my Trek essays came from, was that episode.
Right.
And, you know, that's sanctuary cities come from the idea of people currently being over-focused on competing ideas of liberty and indifference.
So let me throw this at you. I know we're digressing a little bit.
Oh, who cares? This is fun.
Anyway, this is something you might throw at a young person. What would you do if an alien came over or beamed over, as the case is, right? And trying to explain to you to calm yourself down before you vaporize yourself. What would your reaction be?
Well, in what language? Like English or?
Well, pretend it's Star Trek, Heather.
Well, I
It's
mean,
like the universal translator that the writers came up with. So
we
wouldn't
have
to
those.
worry about the whole language barrier thing.
Well, I mean, I'd probably listen because I myself am an alien among my people. So why would I be so indifferent to another alien? I'd listen to them because they might have some useful knowledge, because I personally know what it's like for people not to listen to me and to outright reject me because of my differences. So why would I reject somebody else over theirs and their ideas?
Yes, again, I read.
I know I probably talk about this too much, but I'd be open-minded to communicating with aliens simply because I know what it's like to be one and be treated as one. But not everyone is the same, you know?
Uh, and this just popped in my head. Funny thing with the Kelvin verse and the Kurtzman verse, remember how the end of season of the pilot episode of Strange New Worlds, how we had the little kids in the school making models of the Enterprise?
Yes.
And then in the second Star Trek Kelvin film, the native tribes people, they saw the Starship Enterprise and start worshiping it.
That wasn't at the end, that was at the beginning of Into Darkness.
Thank you.
As they were flying away, the natives on that planet literally started drawing it into the dirt with a stick and started bowing to it.
Well, makes sense of any low-grade culture.
But, you know, I mean, that's how we learn, I suppose. Children are amazing examples. People with childlike minds, they don't focus on differences. They don't focus on anything but learning from one another and embracing unique ideas. And perhaps we can learn something from them. Perhaps if we focused on embracing unique ideas instead of pushing them away just because they're not easily understood by us.
Yep. I believe I believe the bigotry and other negativity is an acquired trait.
Like, you know, we all know we're going to die eventually, but you know, we can spend our living moments living gloriously because our future is what we make of it. And even Pike said that in this episode. If only we're not so over focused on competing ideas of liberty and indifference, we can see what we have in common and really focus on the fact that diversity is what can make our futures great. And you know, growth is a wonderful thing. Growth is what will help us, and growth is possible anywhere and with anyone. We can simply start from where we are, and when we are never too old to grow, and growth does not discriminate.
There you go.
So why should we? And our mission as a people and a society is to explore, to seek out new life and new civilizations, and to boldly go to build diversity and to lovingly maintain it.
Yeah. Well, Gene himself said, I don't remember the exact words per verbatim, but when we get to the point we don't just tolerate differences, but embrace them.
Yes.
Then you know you made progress.
I did. You know what? That brings up another paper I wrote. Tolerance is not love. And that reminds me of something Max Grodenchik from Deep Space Nine. He said, tolerance is, I believe, is acknowledging that differences exist, and loving is accepting differences or something like that. But it's in my paper, Tolerance is Not Love. It's on treksphere.com.
Okay. And not to be a pain, but in my clock, it's almost 2200.
Okay, so, you know, we shouldn't allow our traumas to stop us from growth like Pike tried to. We should embrace what time we have. We really should.
Yeah, but we didn't embrace the next 5 minutes.
We shouldn't over-focus on competing ideas of liberty and indifference. We can go forward together, knowing that whatever shadows we bring with us, they make the light of the future all the brighter. And that comes straight from Pike's Law. Because our mission as a people and a society is to build diversity and to lovingly maintain it. Okay. And I think those are some great closing words.
Yes.
I want to make you go to bed because you're so tired. You've been wonderful with hanging with me tonight.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for your company.
All right, look forward to your write-up.
Oh, it'll be an episode and tape.
Okay.
Live long and prosper, my friend.
All right, good night.
Good night. Thank you all for coming to this meeting. Live long and prosper. Far beyond the stars, far beyond the stars is where I wish to go someday, someday soon. Far beyond the stars, far beyond the stars is where IDIC resides, and I'll find it someday soon.